Good evening, everyone. My name is Catie Roman, and I'm going to be doing my screencast today on accessibility technology, and I'm going to be doing that on the program Touch Chat. I have decided to choose Touch Chat for a couple different reasons, and I'll go into that once I change the slide, if it will allow me to change the slide. Every now and then Google does this when I screencast. Does anyone else see that when I try to click buttons? But it's okay. We'll go to the next slide. So the basics, what is Touch Chat? So overall, Touch Chat can be found on the iOS App Store. It can also be found in Android and the Google Play Store. It's really available on all kinds of platforms. So overall, its uses, Touch Chat promotes inclusive learning because it allows students to communicate with peers and adults without there being a mediator to interpret their language. So long sentence, really what Touch Chat does is it allows students to have those direct connections with other students. And really Touch Chat is kind of like a talker or a talking device. It's an app that a student uses on some kind of tablet, whether, like I said, in iOS, Android, Google Play, and really, again, the goal is so that they can use it to communicate with their peers. I chose to do this because I work with two different students in different classrooms in my placement school right now. One's in my gen ed placement and the other one's with my special ed placement, who use this app. And we've been really trying to use it, especially when it comes to communicating with them and then teaching others around them to use it as well. So I thought that it would be a great thing to talk about because I've had some experience with it. So yeah. Some limitations though that come with Touch Chat is that it does need to be downloaded online to be used offline. I know that's kind of a run-on sentence, but I think it makes sense. So you have to download it with internet or use your data if you have some kind of tablet that connects to data in that way. And it needs connectivity of internet or, again, data to update or add extras on. The biggest thing, which you can't really see because my face is covering it, so I'm going to move me over. So the biggest thing that's difficult about Touch Chat, it is very expensive. I talked to my special educator, and for a student to receive Touch Chat, they have to put it in their IEP because it would take a huge amount of budget money otherwise. So depending on the version, the version that comes with the most options is $299.99. Really, it's $300. And again, that's the full HD augmentative and alternative communication version. This is the version that the students I work with use. There is another version for $149.99. Again, basically $150. And that one is partial HD. It's not as clear. I started looking at reviews comparing the two, and if you're gonna spend $150, I hate to say you might as well spend double it to spend for the $300 one. But if this is what a student needs to communicate in class, it is so much more worth it to spend the money and have them using a program that's at a better quality, if that makes sense. There is also an HD Lite version for $9.99, so $10. I thought about purchasing that for this evening, but then my app store has been having problems, so I'll show you how I'll be doing the demo in a little bit. But that HD Lite version is very basic. This is an example of it, which I've put myself over. I'll move. This is a basic outlook of what the HD Lite version looks like, and it's really difficult to make sentences with because there's not as many options per screen, and it's not as easy to move around in. So definitely would not recommend that one. Another fun extra that I've included at the bottom, which might be a little bit cut off in the screencast, is that Touch Chat provides different voices for you to use. So they can be gender specific, male or female, and you can try to go up and down in pitch, but it does sound like an adult talking. So that's important to note for later, and I will touch on that as we go. So now that I'm going to skip the next slide. So this is, right here, is actually what the student in my gen ed classroom's tablet looks like. So as you can see, he uses a Samsung tablet. I'm not sure why. I forgot to ask why he uses a Samsung tablet. The other student I work with who uses Touch Chat, this exact same app, uses it on an iPad. So like you really can. I've seen it used on a multitude of devices. But this is what his home screen looks like. So this particular student most often will use this, especially when it comes to communication. A lot of students in the classroom are really good about trying to help him use this tool along with his voice. He is not the most traditional student to use this. I would say the other student I work with um, has he's on the autism spectrum and he is nonverbal. And he is a student that they really, when you look at the Touch Chat website, they really talk about that this is made for students who are on the autism spectrum and nonverbal. But again, this can be really used by anyone in the right circumstances. So I will then kind of walk you through. So each of these are categories so that have different colors. And then each different color coordinates. So for example, these green ones coordinate to a different category, which you can find through here. Um, so yeah, it may seem a little bit overwhelming at first, and I know the first few times I really tried to use Touch Chat, I remember looking at the device going, how am I going to make a sentence? Because I wanted to use it to not only have the student communicate to me, but I wanted to be able to write back to the student on that device because I think that dual line of communication is so important. So it took me a while to get used to where certain buttons are. But if we keep going in my lovely PowerPoint, let me move myself back up. So this next thing I've included, so I couldn't take home an iPad or his device. That's wrong on many levels. That's not best practice. And he uses it basically all day. The only time he doesn't use it is recess. So today at school, I actually took videos of myself playing with it so that you can see how it works. The tough thing is that Screencast in the free version will not let you hear the audio from my video. So that's the only thing that's going to stink is you won't hear the voice, but I can express to you that it's definitely a voice. But it sounds a little bit robotic as you go. So in this first video, you will see that this is me just opening up the home screen, and I'm trying to create a sentence. So I'm trying to say, hello, how are you? And every time I click that top bar, this is me trying to adjust the volume. I accidentally almost turned off his device. But when you tap, that's how it repeats the sentence back to you. So if you saw me tap multiple times, the device then read to me, hello, how are you? And then read me back, hello, how are you? So tapping it is what will make it read, as well as when you press the button. So when you press the hello button, it will say hello. And also make a slight click sound so that the student can hear that the button registered and then we'll say the word so that it kind of gives you a two-step process where to go with that. This is another video. There's 5 videos that I took because I wanted to get as much of a demo as I could for you without, again, having the device right in front of me. So this is a video of me trying to make some sentences. I was really playing around with the different settings. So as you see, when you click certain buttons, it might take you to a different screen because the program knows what should come next in a sentence. Some people say that limits students' creativity. I think for the right kiddo, it makes things a lot simpler because it helps them form more cohesive sentences. The speech pathologist at school really works with these students to make sure that they understand this app and can make full, complete sentences. So I've actually been able to observe her a couple times work with students with this app, and I think that it's just been super cool. So I wrote the sentence, today is Monday, tomorrow is Tuesday, and again, I had it read it back to me. Next video is this one, I forget what oh, I am. So you saw me type I, and the screen changed. So that brought me to things that would usually come after the word I in a sentence. So I wrote I clicked am, and then after I wrote am, it came up with a list of descriptions. So there was hot, cold, lots of different options. So I had picked cold just to make a cohesive sentence. And then I did it again. I went to I, and then instead of hitting am, I hit the word can. And then after hitting can, it brings you up with a list of abilities or like things you can do or actions. So I chose read. And then when you hit read, it then connects you to say A and then book. Again, it takes a little bit of time to learn where every button is, but it is so cool that the app helps the students form those cohesive sentences and give them ideas, especially if they're not sure exactly what to say. I think that it's important to have that background as well. This video is, I forget exactly what this one is. So this one, oh, so this is the groups. So when you click groups, there's lots of different settings within the app that you can look through. So I clicked school as a group, so I wanted to make a sentence about school. I know, very surprising. So I wrote, I can do, and then math. And then I wanted to add more because that's a pretty basic sentence. So I wanted to really show you how you can add more detail. So as you see, I'm trying to think of what I could add. And then I used the arrow to find with. And then I went back. And then I said my, and then pencil. So I can do math with my pencil. Again, a longer, more cohesive sentence that you can either break up into two parts or you can have it keep going. There's also the ability to add periods within that, so it's super cool that students can preset like 3 sentences, press play, and then it reads all of them. And I have seen some students who are really, really fast with this tool. The final video that I have is the alphabet. So a lot of people have asked, like, oh, and I asked this at first as well, like, what do you do if you can't find the word? So you hit that ABC button, and it gives you this full alphabet. Within the alphabet, you can type a letter, and it will bring up the most popular options for that letter. So I typed A. There were a couple names that showed up, as well as the word and. Um, and again, I clicked some more letters to show you what it would look like. You can also type a sentence, as you'll see me doing now. So it's saying go. I really forgot what I wrote. I know I'm terrible for that, but go to school. So then you can also click one of those preset words. So it says go to school. I just thought that that was a really cool detail. So my final thoughts on Touch Chat. I know I just went into a ton of super detail on it, but overall, I think Touch Chat has a lot more strengths than it does weaknesses. Mainly the clarity and quality of the app. There was definitely a lot of time put into it. It is a lot of money, but I would say, especially for a student who uses it fully, it is so, so worth it. The amount of devices it can be put on is really great. And again, I've seen this tool be used, and I think that that's really what made me choose it as what I wanted to work with, because it was just so rewarding to see students be able to communicate with this app. Um, the biggest weakness that I have found when using this app is that the voice that it reads in is an adult voice. I understand that when you create something like this, it'd be difficult to make a child's voice, but I think it would be so important to have a voice that matches the child, um, whether that be something they pick themselves or I'm not sure exactly, but really I just wish that the voices matched. You could make them match the child and have a voice that sounds more childlike instead of more like an adult robot. So that is the one thing that I wish that the app had more of. Also, again, there is definitely a learning curve when you start using this app because it definitely takes a lot of time. I've been now using it for over 2 months and I still don't know where everything is. And I'm not using it on a consistent basis, but I still am trying so hard to learn all of those things so that I can communicate better with the students that I'm working with. Would I use this tool in my classroom? Absolutely. Especially if I end up focusing more on special ed in the future. This is going to be an app that I definitely recommend